The girl is given a simple instruction: stay on the path. What waits for her when she doesn't is older than any fairy tale. Before the wolf, before the forest, before the red hood that gives her a name, there is a warning. A mother stands at the door of a cottage and tells her daughter to walk straight to grandmother's house. Do not leave the path. Do not stop. Do not speak to strangers. It is the oldest instruction any parent gives a child, and in the Brothers Grimm version of this story, it is the instruction that matters most. Not because the girl obeys it, but because she does not. Little Red Riding Hood is one of the most retold stories in the world. It exists in almost every culture, in one form or another. A child ventures out alone. Something dangerous is waiting. But the Grimm version, published in 1812, is not the soft cautionary fable that modern retellings have made it. It is a story about the mechanics of predation, about how danger rarely looks like danger, about the precise moment when innocence meets something that understands innocence perfectly and knows exactly how to use it. The girl is young, though the Grimms never specify her age. She is old enough to walk alone, young enough to be trusting. Her grandmother has made her a riding hood of red velvet, and she wears it so constantly that the village has stopped using her real name. Her mother gives her a basket, cake and wine for the grandmother who is ill, and repeats the instruction: stay on the path. Be good. Go straight there. The world of the village is orderly, known paths, clear instructions. The forest exists, but you walk through it on the road, and you do not stop. The child steps through the gate. The trees close around her, and somewhere between the safety of the cottage and the destination she was promised, the story begins to change. The wolf finds her almost immediately. He does not leap from the shadows. He does not snarl or threaten. He walks beside her, and he talks. This is the detail that separates the Grimm version from the bedtime story most people remember. The wolf is not a brute. He is a conversationalist. He asks where she is going. He asks what she is carrying. He asks where her grandmother lives. And the girl, who has never been given a reason to fear a polite question, answers everyone. The Grimms write that the girl did not know what a wicked creature the wolf was, and so she was not afraid of him. That single line carries the entire weight of the story. Danger that announces itself is easy to avoid. A wolf that bares its teeth, the body understands that instinctively. But a wolf that smiles, that asks gentle questions, that seems interested in your grandmother's health, this is danger wearing a shape that the innocent have no framework to recognize. The wolf suggests she look at the flowers growing on either side of the path. Listen to the birds. Why rush? The forest is beautiful, and the girl, who has been told to stay on the path but has never been told why, steps off it. She begins to pick flowers, one, then another, each one a little further from the road, and while she gathers her bouquet, the wolf is already running. The wolf arrives at the grandmother's house first. He knocks. He imitates the girl's voice. The grandmother, old and ill and lying in bed, calls out for him to lift the latch. He opens the door, and the Grimms do not linger on what happens next. The wolf devours the grandmother. The word they use is verschlang, swallowed whole. It is not a gentle image, and they do not intend it to be. But they describe it with the matter-of-fact brevity of a story that understands its audience has seen hard things before. Then the wolf puts on the grandmother's clothes, her nightgown, her nightcap. He climbs into her bed, pulls the covers up, and waits. The disguise is grotesque. It does not need to be convincing. The girl will see a figure in her grandmother's bed, wearing her grandmother's clothes, in her grandmother's house, and every piece of context will tell her she is safe. It only needs to match what she expects to find. When the girl arrives, she notices immediately that something is wrong. The door is open. The room feels different. The figure in the bed does not look quite right. And here, the story slows down to a very specific rhythm. It becomes a ritual, a liturgy of questions that every child who has ever heard this story knows by heart. Grandmother, what big eyes you have, all the better to see you with. Grandmother, what big ears you have, all the better to hear you with. Grandmother, what big hands you have, all the better to hold you with. Each question is the girl stepping closer to the truth. Each answer is the wolf pulling her one step deeper into the lie. She can see something is wrong. She is asking the right questions, but each time the answer she receives is framed as care. To see you, to hear you, to hold you. The wolf turns every warning sign into a reassurance. Grandmother, what a terribly big mouth you have, all the better to eat you with. And then there are no more questions. The wolf swallows the girl just as he swallowed the grandmother. He has eaten his fill. He lies back in the bed, falls asleep, and begins to snore so loudly that the walls seem to shake. In Charles Perrault's earlier version, the story ends here. The wolf eats the girl. There is no rescue, only a moral in verse warning young ladies about charming wolves who follow them into quiet places. The Grimms chose a different ending, not because they were softer, but because they were interested in a different question. Perrault asks, what happens when innocence fails? The Grimms ask, what happens after? A huntsman is passing the grandmother's cottage. He hears the wolf snoring through the open window, a deep, rasping, unnatural sound. He enters the house and finds the wolf bloated and asleep in the bed. He raises his weapon, but then stops. He does not strike. Instead, he takes a pair of scissors and carefully, methodically opens the sleeping wolf. And out steps the girl, alive, and after her, the grandmother, alive, shaken and gasping, but whole. The girl says it was so dark inside the wolf, so terribly dark, she thought she would never see daylight again. The Grimms are not interested in biological realism. They are interested in what it means to be consumed by something and to survive it. To come out the other side, blinking in the light, changed. Together, the three of them fill the wolf's belly with heavy stones. When the wolf wakes and tries to run, the weight drags him down. He collapses, and he does not get up again. The punishment is symmetrical. The wolf consumed what was not his. Now he is consumed from within. It is fairy tale justice. The Grimms understood that in stories meant to be remembered, the punishment must mirror the crime. The grandmother drinks the wine and eats the cake her granddaughter has brought, and slowly begins to recover her strength. The huntsman takes the wolf's skin and goes home with it. And the girl in the red hood walks back along the forest path. But this time, the story tells us, she walks differently. She walks with the knowledge of someone who has been inside the darkness and come back out. The Grimms included a second part to this story that most modern retellings quietly omit. Sometime later, the girl is walking to her grandmother's house again. Another wolf approaches her on the path. He is charming. He is curious. He asks where she is going. This time, the girl does not answer. She does not stop. She does not look at the flowers. She walks straight to her grandmother's house, goes inside, and locks the door. The wolf follows. He climbs onto the roof and waits. The grandmother tells the girl to carry a trough of sausage water outside. The smell rises. The wolf leans forward, stretching toward it, loses his footing on the tiles and falls into the trough. He drowns. It is an unglamorous death. There is no dramatic confrontation, no heroic battle. The wolf is simply outweighted by two people who have learned what he is, and who refuse to be caught a second time. The Grimms are making the same point they made in Hansel and Gretel. Experience is survival's most reliable teacher. Little Red Riding Hood has been interpreted as warning, as parable, as a story about the passage from childhood into experience. All of these readings have weight. But at its core, the story is about something brutally simple. It is about what it costs to learn. A girl is told to stay on the path. She doesn't understand why. She meets something dangerous and cannot recognize it. She is consumed. She survives. She meets it again, and this time she does not flinch. The forest did not change. The wolves did not change. She changed. The Grimms understood something the sanitized versions have tried to forget. Innocence is not armor. It is the absence of armor. And the world contains wolves, patient, smiling wolves who will ask polite questions and wait for you to answer everyone. The Red Hood was a gift, made with love, but it was the forest that taught her what the warmth was for. The path home was always there. You just have to learn to walk it with your eyes open.